Good morning. Um, this video is talking about the high net worth clients. I'm Andy Smith, and in particular we're talking how you can access the premium clients, customers with money. I'm going to talk about who they are, customers with money, why you should go for them, and where to find them, or where I find a huge proportion of all my work. We'll look at the end. We'll give you some practical solutions that you can do today, the single best place for you to get started, and of course the problems there are in finding high net worth clients and how to get around them. I've been very lucky. My clients include people like Eric Clapton, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, that's Emma Thompson. I've been on TV in China. I've been in fashion magazines. I can't even think of the name of that magazine now. Performed in China, on stage Indonesia. I've had some amazing clients, companies, A-listed clients, Fortune 500 clients, FTSE 250. These are clients that pay a premium for my service, and I love working for them. Premium clients are by far the best people to go for. As you know, not all customers are the same, and you get treated differently. My story was I was working, entertaining, and running from gig to gig, and I was changing public toilets, wet floors, and when my bag fell on the floor and I got pee all over my equipment, over my socks, I said, that's enough, I don't want to do that. Why is it other entertainers, performers are doing really well, and why is it I, with a pretty good show, so they keep telling me, wasn't picking up the business? And it was purely down to the fact that I was not going after the right type of customer. I was going after anybody that paid me, which we all tend to do when we first start business. And I think it's important that we look to see how you too can go after the ideal customers. And though I come from an entertainer background, this works in photography, this works as a GP, a dentist, a lawyer, this works as a mechanic, as a hairdresser, any occupation. You can target the right type of customer. It's down to you to choose who to go for and who that you want to select. You've just got to position yourself right, and that's what this is all about. But in particular today, as I say, we're going to talk about where I find my premium customers, and I think it's something that is definitely overlooked, and when people do it, they don't do it in the right way, and I'd like to show you here how this happens. So where do you find these high net worth clients, these ones with the money? You can look at private members clubs, 5-star hotels, private schools, events where premium clients hang out, polo matches, for example, smart restaurants, luxury branded marketing and promo events. But the secret really is that you've already got some premium clients. Probably about 10, even maybe as much as 20% of your existing clients will pay for a premium product or service. They're looking for something more. Just because you and I would not necessarily spend money on a Rolls Royce doesn't mean to say that other people would be not prepared to do that. And people will go to amazing lengths to just buy something that they really want. You get golf enthusiasts who buy absolutely everything golf. They may work in an hourly rate in a factory, but they will spend every living moment on their hobby, working out ways to spend all their money. They will miss food to play golf because they are totally wacko about their particular hobby. And I'm not saying that you should be selling to people who are giving up food. I'm just saying that there are people out there who will go to weird and wonderful lengths to purchase something that they really want. And if you give them that right product or service, people will go for it. And you can position yourself to be the person that people go for. So go for the high net worth clients. There's plenty of people out there with more money than the rest of the population, and they are prepared to spend it on quality services for that particular niche, whether it's a birthday party for their children, whether it's to go and see a private doctor and pay for um, excellent medical advice, or to, you can have the choice of having your teeth extracted by me in the garage with a pair of pliers, or you can go and have a really nice dental job done in a very nice practice. These options are out there. So some of your existing clients will pay a premium package, and it's up to you to create the packages, and I have talked about that in other videos. If you haven't seen that, let me know and I'll pass the link on to you. So why customers with money? Well, just for example, you did 4 events, 4 shows, 4 jobs, 4 products a week, and you're selling at $250. That's $1,000 a week. That's $48,000 a year. Some people are happy with that. You've got the cost of marketing, you've got the travel time, the resources to do it, the cost of finding 200 new clients in a year. If your conversion rate is, say, 25%, that means you've got to find 800 new prospects for your business. And most people have struggled to find 100 new prospects. So it really is quite difficult. So why, when you put that effort in, don't you put it into something that is really ideal? And why don't you go for clients who really can afford to pay more? If you go for $1,000 people, you're going to get less of them, but you only need 4 a month to get the same income with less costs, less travel, the marketing is less, the resources and time is less. It gives you more time and more money to do the things that you want to do and to develop your business, and for you to go off and do your crazy activity and play golf or whatever it is. Do you see what? By positioning yourself and going after these high net worth clients, you can go change the way that you do business. When you're, I've mentioned this previously, but when you're getting paid 4 to 6 times what your competitors rate, you can really put in that extra effort to deliver your very best work, over supply with value. And what does that do for you? You're enjoying it because you're doing your best work, but your clients, they are overawed by the value you're giving and recommend you, which is what you want. And who they're going to recommend you to? To more people with premium pockets. And you only need to find 48 new clients a year, and that means if you've got the same conversion rate, you're looking for 200 people and not 800 people. I know where I'd rather be doing it. So just before we move on, let's just quickly talk about fees. And the biggest reason that most people, probably yourselves, are not looking for higher fees is your mindset. I went to a marketing conference many years ago in Bristol, and one of the magicians there stood up and said, have you ever been to a wedding? Do you know the cost of flowers on the table? And we said, no. He said, well, there'd be £25 perhaps back then per vase, per table. And you could easily see 10 tables in the room plus some by the door. He said, you're easily looking at £500 plus for the flowers at a wedding. Yes. Why is it you're charging less than the flowers when you have the ability to make a far more memorable appearance at a wedding as a performer than the flowers. Can you remember the flowers that you saw at the last wedding? I can't. I can certainly remember the entertainers, but I can't remember what the decoration was. I think I'd have trouble actually remembering who was getting married at the last particular wedding. But the flowers are insignificant, but brides think an awful lot to them. It's expected. Entertainment is way, way more memorable, and most magicians, entertainers, were charging a lot less than the flowers. But I think we do that in a lot of businesses. Photography, not just entertainment. It's because the value is not expressed when we talk about what we do. We tend to charge what our competitors do. Now, if we flip that and express the value properly, we're able to talk more about the excuse me, have a cup of coffee. Talk more about the value and what we're doing for the customer in the long term. Trade shows. I was working at a trade show, and somebody ran up to me and said, Andrew, I haven't got time to talk. Sorry, very sorry. Give us your card. Are you free next month, May, for a week? May the 5th for a week? I said, yeah, I think so. I'll confirm it later. He said, great. He said, you're booked. If you're free, you're booked. I said, thank you. He said, do you mind travelling overseas? I said, no, that's fine. He said, okay. Well, I want you to come to Africa for a week to entertain Mombasa in Kenya for a wedding. No, for a 40th birthday party it was. I said, yeah, sure, I can do that. And he said, you've probably not got the clothes for performing in that environment, so there's a £500, which would be about a $750 clothing allowance, cash, he said, so that you can buy yourself some comfortable clothes to get around with while you're there. Oh, thank you very much. The money was not the object. People are out there with the right type of client. You can find the right type of remuneration for your service, but you've got to be in the right place and going after the right customers. If I hadn't been at that trade show and exhibition, I wouldn't have picked up that client. So the problem is gatekeepers. It's getting past that. And my last video was about the gatekeepers. If you haven't seen that, drop me a line and I'll send you the link again. It's in the Facebook group links by the Fireside Chat. If you're not already a member, join. We do talk a lot about how you can position yourself outside your competitors so that you can charge premiums. That's the aim of the group. So gatekeepers are the people who, if you don't know what that is, are the personal assistants and secretaries and agents. They're very, very wealthy. The Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Eric Clapton, the big corporate companies I've worked for. You don't work for the man with the money. You don't speak to them. I cannot pick up the phone to Paul McCartney. You can't pick up the phone to Paul McCartney. But we can get to their PA, and their PA is who I need to speak to when dealing with the business. When I'm at the event, yes, I get to talk to Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr for 20 minutes, face-to-face, one-on-one, no interruptions, in a comfortable environment, brilliantly, and go back and see Paul McCartney, and he comes over to me and shakes my hand and says, hi Andrew, good to see you again, thanks very much for coming, shaking my hand, and moves on. Yeah, that's tremendous. But you can't, there's no way that you, me, or anyone else can pick up the phone book and say, hey Paul, can I come and entertain you at your party? So you've got to be, you come to the gatekeepers, and gatekeepers are usually, are traditionally known in the sales environment as battle axe secretaries who stop anybody coming past to get to the boss. What you've got to do with the dominant brand approach is understand them as an individual and how you can get past them to do the job and to get your presentation in front of the decision maker. But I've got another video on that. If you wish to have a look, let me know. So the single best place that I found, and I've already mentioned it, is trade shows and exhibitions. And these are, everyone's got them. I'm going to talk a little bit about why trade shows in a fraction, but there's trade shows for every single industry, whether you're a doctor, into golf, into cars, into consumer items, into electronics. These are the things. It's financial services. Even balloon entertainers have conventions and exhibitions, and these go on now for just balloon twisters. There are about 6 of them a year around the globe, where you can join up, network, and talk to other entertainers. So every industry has one, and these are the people. If that was my client bank, then I would be looking to go and see. You should be looking to see where your ideal client hangs out, because that is where you should be looking for these. Trade shows are great because the customers with money, they're gatekeepers, travel to and are all in one building. What a fabulous place. It's like looking for a jar of honey and finding it, big shelf of it just there, all waiting to be bought up and stuck in your trolley. They can see you work, they can see you talk, they can see how you present yourself. They love to break the ice and start the engagement. People who visit have taken time out of doing something else, so they are generally more interested than someone who may be glancing down Facebook or YouTube. They go, oh, that's interesting. They are really seriously into it. They've invested time and money to get to that event, and they're there frequently to learn. And as I said, customers with money, it's the opportunity to talk to them live and face to face. You can start to build the relationships. Your know, like, and trust. That's what we are looking to do with our customers all the time. Then we can, the more we talk about them, the more we can find out about them, the better service we can give them in the long term. The network opportunities are fantastic. You can talk to someone who says, oh, I've got this problem. I've just been talking to someone else. Come with me. And I walk them around the exhibition hall, introduce them, let them get on. And they say, oh, thank you very much, Andrew. Come back to me later. Often bring me a cup of coffee and say, that's great, thanks very much, and continue the conversation I've had with them. Networking is brilliant. You've got trade shows. They can be business to business or business to consumer. Excuse me, another quick cup of coffee. And trade shows and exhibitions attract international buyers, and as I've done, is see the world and get paid for it. I'll let you into a secret here. 97% of my biggest and best customers have come from people I've met at exhibitions or directly from referrals from those customers. 97% of my quality customers, where I charge 4 to 6 times my competitors' rates, I have met at trade shows. I've said that the gatekeeper, they're there, they're in the middle, but building the relationship with the gatekeeper is so important. But it's also important that you make it easy for the client who makes the final decision, because the gatekeeper is, we'll say, I've met Andrew who does X, entertainer for your event, and the client says, okay, why is he charging more? Because if I've given the tools to the gatekeeper, the gatekeeper can then show the client and see how I am different and why I am different from my competitors. So it's about, when dealing with gatekeepers, is giving them the tools to make it easy for them to speak to their client. He or she has got to sell your service to the client at the end of the day. And however much of a conversation you have, she needs to be able to put a one sheet in front of that customer, client with money and say, I've chosen Andrew because of this. Bam. So the dominant brand approach is really design your own business. As I've mentioned, know your customer. Designing your own business means that you can choose to go for those high net worth customers. You've got to know where they hang out. Yep. Knowing your competition is so important. Where do your competitors hang out? Which exhibitions do they go to? Why are they there? What are they planning to achieve? If they're there, you should be there. Talking, networking, definitely. And I'll talk more about trade shows in a moment, in the next video rather. You've got to craft your own message, the what, where, when, why, and then you've got to get in front of those clients and target them. So the second step, I didn't need to pause. Let's pause this. Okay, apologies there. I was just doing some reading on, checking I've got this is the right video, checking the slides ahead. Yeah, we're okay to go. So it's important then to identify, to know that client, what motivates them. The dominant brand approach means that you've not only got to look at it from the customer's point of view, the client, the high net worth's point of view, but you've also got to look at it from the gatekeeper's point of view. And sometimes if you're in performing, you may be dealing with an agent prior to that, and so that agent will have different needs and wants to the gatekeeper, who has again different needs and wants to the customer with money. You can't just stand up in front of them and say, me, talk about me, I'm an award-winning doctor, I'm an award-winning this, I do that, because you don't know who you're talking to. You have got no idea where they are in, let's say, the food chain, where they are as far as developing and progressing. You need to certainly identify who that customer is and have your materials crafted especially for that. And because you don't know where that is, you have to get that contact, get that information, take a step away, and then come back to them and make that presentation and to make that effort to get to know them and develop it. But because these guys are going to pay you 4 to 6 times more money, you're going to have far better quality business. It's worth the effort to putting in and finding these quality people, and you're building the relationships, and because you're building the relationships, you will get far better return. And if a client typically books you now once or twice a year, the new clients will book you 2-3 times a year and refer you because you've built a greater relationship. Knowing your competition, you have to know who they are, how they promote themselves, and which live events they attend, because being at their events, you want to go along and have a fine look and see why they're there. And I do suggest before you go to invest in a trade show exhibition that you go a time before to have a look around, see if it's actually worthwhile, see if it's going to be beneficial to you. And then when you've identified that, you can then decide whether to invest in it. You know, I've invested in Wedding Fair, where there was one bride turned up. The sushi was awful, but that was another story. But the exhibitors, there were about 25 exhibitors, and this one bride. The organizer asked us if we could all go into the fashion show, watch the fashion show, so that the bride wouldn't feel alone while she was looking at all these dresses on her own. Bit tough, but that was one story. So I sent my daughter in and I did some networking with the other exhibitors who didn't want to go in alone. But that worked out well in the long term. But as far as meeting the customers, wasn't good. And therefore, you've got to go to these events, identify whether the numbers are going to be there, whether the quality of the visitors is going to be there. It's certainly worth a trip for you. So yeah, you know who your customers. So where to start? as I said, every industry has at least one trade show, whether it's pharmacy, golf, sport, health and fitness. There's hundreds of them around. You've just got to start it. And I suggest that you look at hobbies and interests of yours. It's a great place. There's high net worth clients in there because you've already got something in common with the audience when you're there. Why would I exhibit entertainment at a purely financial show? Because I come from a financial services background, I can talk the language, but I'm also there to sell to the high net worth people at that event. So it's entertainment. You might think, well, that you could easily sell a medical practice, chiropractic, or photography service easily at a financial services event, because you will be the only one there talking to the high net worth clients, and you can offer something special for them. That's what this is about. You've got to think outside your box. Don't do what necessarily your competitors are doing, because they're probably scratching around at the bottom end. As I say, my experience with pharmaceutical and financial services industry is a great place for me to start. I already knew the topic. I could speak the same language. Event industry in the UK, there's a show called Confex. There's a secretarial show. There's a restaurant show called Square Meal. Amazing places to meet restaurant owners and people booking events. But also they need photographer, they need not necessarily doctor, but it's being in the right place to have the right marketing and attract a different bunch of characters. It's not about quantity, it's all about the quality. And I've mentioned the Africa story, being paid that extra bit and working for an agent also. I meet him. He then provided me with a huge list of quality clients and got me into places doing things that I would never have dreamt of when I first started charging premium rates. Thank you to both those guys, but I met him at a trade show, and that Africa guy, I met him literally a quick dashing conversation, and the agent who I worked with for a fair few number of years, lovely guy, and he the relationship built over 2-3 days at the exhibition, and it just grew from there. Fantastic. I'm going to assume though that you've got already a professional backup at home. On the back end, you've got a dedicated website to your niche. Be specific about it. Don't be a generalist, be a specialist. I've had a video on that. You do not need an xxx at hotmail.com. You should have a dedicated email address to your domain. If you haven't, it doesn't look as though you're professional. It doesn't come over as that. If you can't give yourself a professional email address, the client's already going to think, yeah, okay, you don't take your business seriously enough. And you need an autoresponder facility for adding value. And you must not be talking about me, I, or myself, or yourself in your case. It's what it is you're going to be doing for your customers. You've got to be a specialist. Don't be a cheapskate at exhibitions. Don't go in wandering around with a bunch of business cards, throwing them on the floor, dropping them everywhere, talking to people, leaving them in the loo. The idea is to get into a trade show and talk to people. As an exhibitor, anyone who comes wandering around trying to sell me stuff, I'll just drop their card in the bin, just for the sake of it. Even if I need their service, it's the worst thing to do in this industry is to gate crash an exhibition and hand out your business cards. We've all paid to be there. You haven't. That's not nice. Certainly go to exhibitions, look around, have conversations, talk to people, ask them questions, and I'll talk about that in the next video. But don't go with a view to picking up business. That's not what you're there for. You can pay to get a stand, share a stand. Some entertainers in particular be able to work for free, share a stand and work for free. or you can even be paid to be at a stand. Entertainers particular. Photographers can share a stand maybe for free, work with other people. You're engaging, you work with, share a stand with someone who's got a business that you can work with. They are ideal. But wherever you work on that, you've got to be aware of how that will affect your behaviour when you're talking to the exhibitors, the agent, the gatekeeper, the client, and the conversations. So it's there, you've got to ask questions. Where to start? You've got to look at Google and do some research. Google your choice, look for venues, industries. Each show has got event details on it. They've got an exhibitor list. You can write to the exhibitors. You can pick up the telephone, email, drop them a letter. It does take time, and it's tough, and you've got to keep it in mind that the prize is brilliant. Once you break into the high net worth clients that pay you 4 to 6 times what your competitors are doing, fantastic. And the biggest mistake that people do or not do is the follow-up. You get these business cards, you make a conversation, and then they just drop them off. I send emails to the people at the end of each day. I enter them on my system. Thank you, great talking to you today. We'll follow up next week. And then you're going to go home and follow up. But you've got the time to do that, because these guys, you're building relationships in the long term. Get to meet them, have a chat. So identify where these clients hang out, look at the venues and the trade shows, put on your best suit, frock, dress, whatever, go take a visit. They are in high net worth, clients are in high net worth, private members clubs, 5-star hotels, private schools, as I say, events where premium clients hang out, polo matches, restaurants, smart restaurants, luxury brand events. Put on your posh tonks and go and have a chat with them. Talk to people, ask some questions. It's the way to get in. Get in there, have a chat. You don't need to buy a new suit, just put your best one you've got on, the best you can afford, clean your shoes, and off you go. Park your beat up jalopy round the corner if you're a bit afraid or shy, and march on in there with a big smile on your face. Just go and hang out. It's the best place to get started. Whatever you do, you're not going in there to sell. You've got to get in there to talk to people and ask questions. Use the Big 12 questions. Turn it into a survey, adapt them for your industry, make it relevant to them, and go in and just say, I'm here just asking a few questions, can you help me? Can I buy you coffee? Do you mind coming over and having a chat for a bit? I've got some questions I'd like to ask. It shouldn't take too long. Just want to get to know more about this industry and what it does. Just ask the questions. It works every time. You'll get told, no thanks, I haven't got time occasionally, but you'll get more success than you will failure. Just keep at it. Remember, don't sell. Do not sell. You're there to help, to identify, build the relationship. The help, the sales come later on when they're ready. They're on a different agenda to you. You've just got to work out where you are in their agenda. What exhibitions have you attended or something today? Where are you exhibiting next? What plans for business growth have you got this year? These are some things that they'll be happy to talk to you about. It's going back to that wedding thing. It's not about selling. You're there for better or worse. You're there to build the relationship. Talk to people. When you get married, you promise to say, for better or worse. It's about relationships. It's a tough thing to do. You've got to work on it. It doesn't work. You're not going to make friends with everybody. You're not going to get a date with everybody. But it's about identifying those that you can have a relationship with. And as I said, follow up. Did I mention that before? Follow up. Oh, follow up. Of course, yeah. And don't forget, look at competition, exhibitions, direct and indirect. Other exhibitors will become a reliable source of leads and referrals, but give as much as you can at first without any expectation. Give without expectation. Make friends with other exhibitors, relationships. Got more tips and advice for you on premium clients. I'm going to come into the talk about trade shows more detail, the do's and don'ts and the setup, and I'll talk to you more about differentiation from competitors and the dominant brand process. Come and join us at askandysmith.com. On that page that you land on, just at the bottom is a link to the Facebook group, the Fireside Chat link. Come and join us. We're here to help you all to move up to the next level. If you're interested, that Facebook group is really a warm and friendly chat about getting better quality payment, clients paying you premium prices for your services. So look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for that. Bye for now.